And welcome back. Joining us now is the candidate for the 14th District. We welcome now Randy Abreu, and welcome. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Good. Exciting time for you?
I mean, it's always an exciting time. 5 weeks to go until the election. It's picking up, and I'm flying high right now.
So when you look at the 14th District, and you've got a vision, of course, for the district, what do you see as the primary objective for you handling for what needs to be done?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, we need to solve this housing crisis that we have going on. There's too many people in our community that don't know if they're really going to stay in their apartment tonight, tomorrow, next month. There's actual insecurity in our community, and we, moving forward, have a big rezoning project on Jerome Avenue, and a lot of people in the community are concerned because they're not sure if they'll be able to afford an apartment in these new buildings, and they're not sure if the landlord that they currently have right now is going to uphold their rights so that they can live in habitable places.
So when you say housing is a main priority, obviously a lot of people are worried about development, redevelopment. It seems like the development that comes in is not suitable for residents who currently live. Questions about gentrification. How do we deal with this?
I think we really need to take a focus and shift and pivot as public servants, as elected officials, and look towards the public interest. To me, this means resisting gentrification by looking at inclusive development. Yeah, sure, we can invest in our community, but that investment must look towards us first, must look towards the bottom first. How do we from the Bronx share in the wealth? How do we from the Bronx who help stabilize this community from the days when I remember hearing gunshots often, now not that often, but still sometimes. How do we share in growing and shaping the vision of the future of the Bronx? That's what's most important. That's the only way to resist the gentrification that's already on its way.
Talked about housing. Let's move a little bit to health. And you know, the Bronx definitely has its set of health issues. Yeah. We've got asthma. We've got obesity. How do we deal? And what are you thinking about the health issues in your district?
That's it's two-pronged process over here. It's first education, education, education. I understand. I'm from this community. I know what it's like for a lot of parents, a lot of single parents, to work 2 jobs, get home late, not have the time and the resources to make sure they and their children have the healthy food options that they need, affordable, healthy food options that they need, and are able to go to the doctor regularly to get that preventative care checkup. But then we really need to take a critical look. How do we move forward in the next decade? We have the tools and the resources at our fingertips when it comes to clean energy and renewable technologies. Let's take a critical look at our city school buses, which have diesel engines. Let's retrofit those engines to clean energy engines, making sure that local Bronx talent is a part of the installation and manufacturing process, so we even create jobs while reducing air pollution, while we reduce asthma.
When you look at your candidacy, obviously you've got some other candidates in the field, and talk to us about why people should vote for Randy Abreu.
I think tomorrow can't wait. That's been our slogan ever since this campaign started, and it's true as far as we'll keep going. There's the incumbent in the race has had 8 years to move our community forward. Our earnings have actually gone down since the height of the Great Recession. Think about that. In 2010, we were making about $33,000 a year. Today, we're making about $30,000 a year. There is no greater example of the discrepancy of the 1% and the 99% than right here in District 14 in the Bronx. People have to vote for change. I am that candidate right now because by my count, there are about 4 or 5 years until this development and gentrification gets the better of us and displaces the one community we've always known.
So when you talk about your political experience, obviously never held public office, but you've worked with the former President Obama and in his administration. Share.
Yeah, man, oh boy. I personally miss the man in office. Currently seeing the president we have now, it's like night and day, literally. And I learned how to politic in Washington, D.C. Let's face it, I didn't come through the Bronx machine system. I didn't come through New York City politics. I am an attorney by education. I'm a born and raised Bronxite, lived on Fordham Road and Sedgwick Avenue my whole life. And working for President Obama was the highlight of my career so far. I learned from him firsthand how important it is to engage your community, how proud young people make him, and how energetic we make each other when we're vibing off each other off these really good ideas that we know when we coalesce as a community from the local level all the way to the presidential level, we really could bring that change that he was talking about in 2008. I mean, I know we didn't get there 100%, but we're on our way.
So when did you decide you're going to launch the run?
I had been looking at this seat and at my current council member since 2014, actually. I was interning at Attorney General Schneiderman's office as part of an investigation for a potential lawsuit where we were looking at nonprofits in New York that were supporting hate laws in Africa. This research and investigation led me to a video of the current councilman in Uganda where he's praising a law in Uganda that will put any LGBT person in prison. I obviously, as a young millennial, my best friend being someone who was LGBT, I'm just like, well, this doesn't look right to me at all. And I thought at that moment, I don't care what happens, there must be something I could do to make sure he is no longer my local elected official, my mother's elected official moving forward. So 3 years later, in those 3 years, I just continue to get federal legislative and regulatory experience working on Capitol Hill, working at the Federal Communications Commission, working for President Obama, and as an attorney, I've been preparing for this moment ever since.
So as we talk about housing, we've talked about health, I want to get your take on education.
Yeah.
Huge education problem that we have here in New York City. What are your thoughts? How do we tackle? What do we do?
I'll answer that in two parts. First and foremost, we need to refocus on the benefits of the public school institution. We lost track. And yes, some charter schools are giving our kids a better option, whereas there are charter schools that are violating laws, aren't holding up to standards, and giving us reports on students with disabilities and ESL students. We need to refocus on the benefits of the public school as a community institution. But second and most important, a city councilman has control of the budget for the city. This requires a critical look at how this budget on education is being spent with a lens towards equity in our community, looking first towards the young black and brown kids of District 14.
And so as we talk about education, we talked about housing, we talked about health. What else do you find as the big problems or initiatives that you would like to see if elected in District 14?
Yeah, and I've been very clear about this. If and when elected to the City Council, I do hope to sit and chair the Small Business Committee. Our community now, a lot of real estate eyes are on the Bronx because of our small businesses. Our small businesses help stabilize this community since the days that the Bronx was burning. And it's a shame to me to see so many small businesses closing down shop right now. My barbershop, my bodega, the deli, the beauty salon, the dry cleaner, the flower shop, that toy store right there on Kingsbridge Road help stabilize our community. And today, some of them can't even get a lease of more than 1 month. There's no certainty, there's no stability. And so the survival of our small businesses is on the line here. The backbone of New York City, the culture and the soul of New York City has always been in our small businesses. Our small businesses are undergoing a crisis, and looking towards 2020, how we innovate, how we move forward, we need to give these small businesses that certainty and that economic stability.
Randy Abreu is a candidate in the 14th Councilmanic District race, and best wishes to you, and thank you for coming and sharing with us on In the District.
Thank you so much for having me.
All righty. Well, we thank Randy for joining us, and we'll be back with more right after this.